but it's one of those deals that when you're going to a multiple offer situation, you don't want to be bringing a golden retriever. You want to be bringing a bulldog.
How's it going, guys? It's your boy Mike from Seattle. All around good guy, duly elected sheriff of the internet. Today I'm with Jim Scott, who's with Team Scott Homes. He is a real estate agent in the Seattle area, also a real estate investor. He's been doing it since 2009 when he bought his first duplex. In 2010, he got his real estate license. Also, for you local people around here, he worked at Boeing as a mechanic for 28 years before retiring just a few years ago and then moving into real estate full-time. He owns 11 properties, 13 different doors. So I've spent about an hour chatting with him, getting to know him. He's commented on a lot of my videos. I think he's an expert in the area. So that's a great thing to talk about, multiple offers. Get it. So my question to you, and you told me that you have a pretty good system here. How do you compete? How do you stand a chance when you're 1 out of 10?
So long story short, to answer your question, I will tell you, it matters who you use as a real estate agent.
Okay.
I'm not bad-mouthing the folks out there. I'm sorry, but it's one of those deals that when you're going to a multiple offer situation, you don't want to be bringing a golden retriever. You want to be bringing a bulldog. Mm-hmm. It matters. And then the second, it matters who you use as a lender, okay?
Okay.
So with those. So the first thing is there's a difference. So as a buyer, everybody's all well aware of the term pre-approval.
Right.
I got my letter, I'm pre-approved. Do you know that there's another type that's called underwritten approved?
No, I actually have not heard of an underwritten approved letter.
A lot of people don't know about it because a lot of lenders don't do it. Mm-hmm. So what happens is there's a lot of the banks, a lot of maybe federal, a lot of folks that do the VA, they don't do them. So the underwritten approval basically is taking the client's, the buyer's file and is run it through underwriting, mm-hmm. less the house.
Right.
Okay. And so now they give it the big old blessing that, hey, you're underwritten approved. All you need is a house and an appraisal and you're done. You're ready to go. It's equivalent to a cash buyer.
Okay, that's good.
Need to ask your lender. If you're looking at a home right now and you're out there with a pre-approval letter, you need to go back and talk to your lender. Can I get an underwritten approved letter? So the first thing I do is I follow up with the listing agent. Hey, this is Jim Scott, Summit Properties Northwest. Just calling to see you guys got any offers on your home right now? And they go, oh yeah, I got 5 or 6 offers. So that what you want to do is kind of sit back and listen. Mm-hmm. Some agents on the listing side will not tell you nothing. Mm-hmm. Others kind of give you little clues of where you are. And you can kind of poke on it. So ask them if there's anything in particular that the sellers are looking for. Are they currently looking to move? Did they already find a place? Mm-hmm. Do they need a rent back? We'd be, we're in a position where we could give you 2 weeks free rent if necessary. So you kind of find out what the seller's position is, what's important to the seller to where you can make those adjustments on your offer, okay?
Right.
So the third one is, and this is critical, the inspection. So generally speaking, if a home is listed and it's listed as we're going to look at offers first come, first serve, mm-hmm. this may or may not work. But if they have a review date, like say today's Monday, and we got a review date of Friday, mm-hmm. I want to bring my inspector out and I want to do a pre-inspection. So you want to call the listing agent and say, hey, are we able to do a pre-inspection? So are you familiar that there's 2 different types of inspections?
Nope, I just knew about one.
So there's the full meal deal.
Right.
And so the full meal deal is where the inspector's out there and he's running it through the meat grinder and he's about there 2.5, 3 hours, and he's going to give you a pretty detailed report with his write-up and all of the pictures, right? That's usually about $450, $500, depending on the inspector and the size of the building. There's another type called the Walkie Talkie. Not a lot of inspectors do them. And it's half the price of a regular inspection. But he comes out and does pretty much the same stuff, not nearly down to the finite details, but he goes over the roof, he goes over in the attic, goes in the crawl space, runs all of the systems, looks for leaks, opens up the electrical panel, really gives you, and you're there walking with him, going over the details of what he's finding. You're not going to get a write-up report. You're not going to get pretty pictures.
Mm-hmm.
But he's usually there maybe an hour, hour and a half tops. And he gives you a real good idea of, hey, whether you've got something here to worry about and we need to walk, or go ahead and put your offer in, and now you can waive the inspection.
Okay, well, that's good. Yeah.
And it's half the cost.
Yeah, yeah.
About $250. So when you're doing it, I told my client, I was like, hey, when we're submitting our offer, we had the opportunity, that was when a review date, and I called and, hey, mind if we do a quick pre-inspect? They said, yeah. So it's a $250 gamble, and I told them that. This is going to put us in a good position, but at the end of the day, it could, knowing I didn't tell them, our earnest money and our financing, our
Right.
but it is a gamble of $250. So that's another. If you cannot do a pre-inspection, the one thing I would highly suggest is when you're filling out your purchase and sale agreement is have your agent do a short inspection period. I would do the cookie cutter time allotment is 10 days. Mm-hmm. If I see a listing agreement that or an offer on my listing that they want 10 days, that's the first thing I change. I squeeze it to 5. That's kind of the first stop. But if you're in a multiple offer situation, if you can make it 1 day, that would be even ideal. And then you want to add in an addendum that basically says the buyer's inspection is informational for the buyer only. So that you're giving the mindset to the seller, I'm not going to come back and nickel and dime you for items.
Right.
Earnest money. I said earlier that it's usually 1% to 2%. If you really want to send a strong message to a seller, you want to increase it to like 5%. If you put down $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 on your earnest money, it sends a strong message to the listing agent and to the buyer or to the seller. At the end of the day, that money is protected with your if you're doing the inspection or if you're doing your financing. You've got an inspection contingency, you've got your financing contingency, you got your title report contingency, you have your appraisal contingency. That money's pretty. I'm not going to say it's bulletproof, protected, but it's pretty damn close.
Right.
So going into the number 5, going into a multiple offer situation, we knew we had to put an escalation clause. We knew we weren't going to get it at that price point. Mm-hmm. Are you familiar with an escalation clause?
No, I'm not. No, please explain it.
So the escalation clause is just another addendum in the offer. Okay. And basically it says your original offer says, I'll give you $350,000 for your home. And then as you flip through my offer, there's an escalation clause that says, oh, by the way, if you happen to get another offer that's like mine, very similar, I will beat that offer by X amount. I would encourage $1,500 increments. Generally seems to catch someone's attention. Mm-hmm. 500, 1,000, it doesn't. The 1,500 really kind of gets someone's attention to look your direction.
Right.
And so what happens is that, and then there's another item down there. It says I'll do it at $1,500 increments up to this dollar amount. Mm-hmm. So if you're looking at a home for $350,000. So your buddy you said your buddy made an offer. He was looking at $400,000. He made an offer of $425,000.
Yeah. That's what he was advised.
An escalation clause?
I'm sorry. What'd you say?
You know if he used escalation clause?
I don't believe so. From what he told me, he said the house was listed at $405,000. He had lost out on another house he had bid on. So this time his agent said, "Why don't we come in at $425,000 to show them we're serious?"
Gotcha.
And I think they just went straight for that $425,000.
Gotcha. So this is where it protects the buyer. So we did, rather than making our offer at $400,000, okay, we knew that $400,000 was our max. So the escalation clause says that, hey, we'll beat anybody that has a similar offer by $1,500 up to $400,000. My buyer was about the bricks, shit bricks, but because he thought he was paying 350 or paying 400 for a $350,000 home.
Right, right.
And we had already seen other homes, and we knew that 400 was what it was, and
Mm-hmm.
the house was worth 400 all day long. So, anyways, the deal is that the other offer that's going to beat you has to be better than 400,000. If
Right.
somebody comes in and makes an offer of 401, you're out.
Yep, yep. So my question then is, for somebody like me who's never dealt with this before, I'm assuming you have to get proof that they in fact actually had an offer that was, you offered 350, someone offered 355. They have to prove someone else offered 355 for that to go into effect, right?
That is correct. So that's part of the agreement. Is that you? So in this example, somebody went up to 385. So at 1,500, 386, 500 is what we paid for it.
Mm-hmm.
And then part of the agreement is that you have to give me a copy of that purchase and sell agreement,
Okay.
so I can verify that you had a comparable offer that
Okay.
took my additional $36,500
Okay.
to justify the price.
Right, right. That makes sense. And then you set your stop loss, which is the other key thing, which is we're not going over a certain dollar amount.
Correct. But so keep this in mind. From a listing side, I see this and all the time. So the first instinct is for you as the buyer is you're looking at 350,000, 400 your top.
Mm-hmm.
Your first instinct is to put your cap at 400,000,
Mm.
right?
Right, right.
Well, there's a wise guy out there that's probably one of those other 10 offers
Uh-huh.
that made theirs 400,500
Okay.
or 401 500.
Right, right.
They made it off just a little bit
Yep.
because 90% of the agents are right at a 400.
Mm-hmm.
So you got beat out by $500 or 1,500 or whatever that little edge over
Right.
the 100 is. So you want to make it a little bit above whether it stops at a 50 or it stops at 100, whatever that
Right.
stop gap is. Make it a little bit more,
Okay.
and it just edges you out that much.
That makes
That's
sense.
all it takes. I mean, I've won with that $500.
You're gonna, I mean, because I'm sure the buyer's like, sure, I'll take an extra $300, whatever, I'll take it, and that's what it comes down to. So
Right. Yes
interesting.
and no. And so that brings me to item number 7.
Okay.
This is the secret sauce. That's the secret sauce right there.
Okay.
And
Explain
what
it.
is that you have the buyers write the sellers a love letter.
Okay.
Oddly enough, it doesn't work. I mean, all of these strategies put together, you've got about a 75-80% chance of hitting it out of the ballpark. Sometimes you're just going to get struck out.
Right.
But the love letter, a lot of buyers, or excuse me, a lot of sellers, it is about the dollar.
Right.
I want as much money as I can out of it.
Right. Right. Right.
But the thing my experience has been is that there's also a good portion of sellers that are very emotional.
Mm-hmm.
They've been in this home for 20, 25, 30 years. They've raised their kids with it. They've updated the kitchen. I mean, it's not a house to them. It's
Right.
a home.
Right. Right. Right.
So it means a lot to them to find the person that they hand it off to
Mm-hmm.
is going to take it and run with it with the same love and the same attention that they did.
Right.
So
Right.
it's very emotional to them. So when a buyer writes a little love letter, oh, my name's, Jeff, and my wife's name is Tina. I work at Boeing as a mechanic, and Tina is a school teacher. And we first saw your home. We just knew instantly it was going to be our home, the backyard. The kids always wanted to have a backyard and a swing set, and now we can have a dog. You really,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
true.
Pull on the heartstrings.
That's what you're doing, and you want to, and if you put a picture in it, that'd been that much better. So you got your offer together, you tweaked it like I suggested, you put in your love letter, you send it. Number one mistake a lot of agents will do is sit back and hope that things will drop from the sky into the lap.
Okay.
The agent has got to follow up with the listing agent. Let them know that, hey, I submitted our offer. I just want you to know that we're pulling on the same end of the rope. If there's anything that we can do to make this more of a smooth and timely transaction for your client, We are here. We adore this house. We want to make this home. We want to win, and just because at the end of the day, believe it or not, and people will argue with me, and I don't care, but it's true. The listing agent has an influence over the seller's decision, subconsciously or not subconsciously.
Right.
Just the way you talk about this one versus the way you talk about it's all subliminal.
Right.
If I go in there and it's just the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
So you just really want to convince the seller, the listing agent, that that's the offer. This is the one. Because sometimes that other offer, and I've seen it where the other offer is higher, but they took the love letter offer.
Right, they're interested in the emotional aspect.
Yeah, I've seen it more times than none. And then after I make my phone call, I have my lender call that listing agent and assure them, hey, Jeff and Tina are solid buyers. They're rock solid. I've got everything I needed. I've done this program. I eat and breathe this particular loan program. We're gonna, as soon as we get our purchase and sell agreement accepted, we're gonna order up the appraisal. We're all about making this happen. I give you a weekly update every Friday. Know where the loan is. You want them to know that, hey, these guys got their stuff together, and it falls all but through the field goal post.
Right. And actually, interesting, I hadn't thought about this because it's been so many, well, not so many years, but it's been 2 years since I bought my duplex. When I put the offer in on this place, I told my lender that I put the offer in on it. He said, oh, fantastic. Give me the phone number. I'm going to call and chat with them and let them know. And I didn't even think of it as a strategy, but I'm sure this guy, who's much smarter than me, knew exactly what he was doing because it's business for him. I'm going to call and I'm going to lock this deal down for my guy. And sure enough, I managed to get it. And there were multiple offers on this place within 12 hours of it going on the market, which is when I got it. So that's a smart strategy. So really what I'm hearing is obviously experience matters. Your real estate agent matters.
Yes.
Creative ways to be competitive include the escalation clause,
Underwritten approved.
the pre-approval and then the pre-underwriter approval. Right. That's a huge thing, which makes sense because, and a lot of people don't know this, but yeah, you get pre-approved from the bank, but then once they do it, they send it off to the underwriter, who then asks for all these additional documents, and you can get hung up in that process. Right?
Exactly.
And so you're essentially telling them, no, there is no hang up. And then cleverly using the inspection so that you can waive an inspection, which people are afraid of. Oh, what if something comes up in the inspection and it all falls? Hey, they waived the inspection because you already did it for cheaper and made sure there's no major issues. Maybe you find maybe something gets missed, but it would be something minor. You know?
Yes, it's always knick-knack, paddywhack stuff.
Right.
And I would say the Walkie Talkie, to be honest with you, was pretty damn comparable in regards to details of the inspection aspect as the normal one. So I would certainly, and it's half the cost. You just don't get the fancy printed out report is all.
But there's some interesting things you said that I've never heard of, never thought of, and are extremely valuable. I guess to close it out, I and let people know where they can find you. And for those watching, Jim here does have a YouTube channel. I'll put the link in the description below, but I'll let him. So,
yeah.
Well, okay, Jim, how can people get a hold of you?
If for any buyers or sellers, I extend out an invite. Feel free to contact me if you'd like further consultation. For sellers, it's a crazy market out there. I would encourage sellers to interview at least 3 real estate agents and review their marketing plan, their communication plan, their experience. And then for buyers, it's just as equally crazy, and it does matter who you use.
Right.
If you're looking for further consultation to be successful, feel free to call us, Jim and Denise Scott. My number is 425-903-2429. My email is teamscott@teamscotthomes.com, and you see our website at teamscotthomes.com.
Perfect, Jim. And I'll put your contact info in the description down below. Thank you for coming on, and I appreciate all the information. And hopefully, you guys go check out his YouTube channel, show him a little bit of love, and ask him questions because he actually responds
Oh, I love it.
with lengthy responses too.
Yes, I do.
All right, Jim. We'll talk to you later.
I appreciate your time, Mike. Thank you.
No problem.